Thank you so much for tuning in tonight, you guys. This is our 7th show. It's been going really well. I'm so glad you're here. We've got 4 amazing storytellers here tonight, and I know that because they've all been on the Storyworthy podcast. So they've been vetted. That's what I'm saying. You guys know that, by the way, Storyworthy, I'm celebrating my 10-year anniversary this month or next month in July. It's unbelievable. And in fact, today on the show, I have my first guest who was on the show July 10th, 2010, and that's Sharon Houston. And she'll be coming up in a little while. I'm really excited for that. While people are coming in, I think some people are still parking. I'll just tell you quickly about my week. I got a new couch. Yay! How often do you get a new couch in life? Do you know what I mean? Like, I've had 3 new couches in my whole life. I've had used couches, but this is only the 3rd brand new couch I got. And the other day, they said it was coming from Living Spaces. Maybe you've seen that truck. And they told me I could follow the truck. You know, you could follow the truck. You could track it. So I know that I'm the 5th stop. So my daughter and I get around the computer. We could see the truck moving down Wilshire. We see it coming up La Brea. They do stop 1. They do stop 2. And then all of a sudden, the truck is at stop 3, but they're stuck. It's not going anywhere. It's on Franklin. It's not going anywhere. And I'm thinking, that's so odd. And then the phone rings, and it's the Living Spaces lady, and she says, I'm so sorry, Miss Blackburn. The couch isn't coming when I told you it would because it broke down on Franklin. So the couch was just sitting there in a truck. They had to send another truck and move the couches and the furniture from one truck to the other truck. The point is, the couch came about 4 hours late, and I was in the middle of a podcast. But I'm a professional. I paused the show. I let them bring the couch in, and now I have a new couch. So there you go. You see, quarantine's not that bad after all. I'm kidding. All right, you guys, listen, I'm going to tell you a couple of little stories tonight. The last few weeks, I've told a story about going to the Middle East with Yakov Smirnoff. Who doesn't have that story? I told 3 stories about being a flight attendant, and I told a couple stories about my dad, and I was going to get into some other stuff tonight, but I think I'm going to hold off till next week. But I am going to tell you a funny story in just a couple of minutes. But first, I want to bring on one of my very favorite guests ever on Storyworthy. He's been on the podcast a few times, and he always has a great story because he happens to know everybody. Like, he knows everybody. It's just a really interesting career. He's had a wonderful career. He is a writer and an author and a producer. He's a Peabody Award-winning rock writer and producer who has produced hundreds of music shows, music award shows, and tribute shows. Recently, he produced the Let's Go Crazy, the Grammys tribute to Prince. I don't know if you guys saw that. And he was also a rock journalist at Rolling Stone magazine. I think he's going to be telling us a story about that tonight. And he has spent time with hundreds of rock stars, including Paul McCartney and his late wife, Linda, who is the person who told this guy to marry his wife. So if Linda McCartney tells you to marry somebody, it'll probably work out. All right, you guys, wherever you are, put your hands together for the amazing David Wild.
It's great. It's an honor to be here in my backyard. The story tonight is about Van Morrison, and it's my less than fantabulous moon dance with Van Morrison. And the story began in 1990 when I was the young, boyishly ugly music editor of Rolling Stone. I'd been out of college just a couple of years, but somehow ended up with this great job at Rolling Stone. And I got a call from Mercury Records, Polygram Records, saying, Van Morrison wants to talk to Rolling Stone for the first time in 10 years. Apparently there'd been an article about him that he thought began with people telling people how to get to his house, like listing his address. So he had not spoken to Rolling Stone for many years. And he said he'll do the interview, he'll only do it with David Wild. And I was all for that. So we made arrangements. And the first arrangement was that I was going to go to Belfast and meet him, and bought a plane ticket, got reservations. He canceled. Then come to San Francisco, got reservations, canceled. And then finally, he was coming to New York to play and doing the David Letterman show. And I was told to go to the Letterman show and we'd have a real time to bond before we began our interview. And so I'm sitting at the Letterman show, he performs, and right before, I'm backstage, right before we're supposed to meet, the manager, this very nervous Irish guy says, okay, when we meet, tell Van that we went to high school together. And this was out of nowhere. Clearly, I did not have much of a brogue, so I didn't think this was going to work. But so Van Morrison comes off stage. The manager goes, Van, it's my friend David from high school. And Van made a guttural noise, which would become a theme throughout our relationship. And he went, yeah, and he just ran right past me. So that was not a promising start for our interview. And then a few weeks later, I got a call saying, okay, Van really liked meeting you. He felt you had good energy. So he wants you to come to Boston. He's going to do the Orpheum Theater, and he's going to do a club date. And he wants you to come, and then you'll hang out. You guys will really get to know each other, really bond. So I went to Boston, checked into the Four Seasons Hotel because journalism used to pay well. And I just kept going to these concerts, which were intermittently great and pretty good, every night for like 4 or 5 nights. And I'm racking up major Four Seasons expenses and getting not ever meeting Van Morrison.
And the man is still there.
I'm sorry? In any case, so then I finally, last night of the show, I go to the show and I go to the manager and I said, listen, I'm running up thousands of dollars of expenses. I'm leaving. And he goes, no, after the show tonight, you're going to hang with Van. It's going to be great. It's going to be great. So I go to the show, don't meet him. There's an after party at the Hard Rock Cafe, which could not be, even then was unhip and now maybe non-existent. And Van is sitting over a chafing dish like a Belfast bar mitzvah kid, eating every egg roll, eating every chicken wing, scooping them just hand after hand. And the manager says, go say hello to Van, go say hello to Van. And I go say hello to Van, and he starts to shake my hand with a chicken wing and an egg roll in it, and says, and then he ran into the hall. And I went to the manager and I said, this is insane. I'm out of here. He goes, no. He's out there in the hall with Georgie Fame, who was a great legendary sort of keyboardist and had a few hits on his own, but his Van's accompanist at that point. He goes, just go out in front of Van and Georgie Fame. Just walk back and forth in front of them. Let them get comfortable. Let them get comfortable with you. And I went, let him get comfortable with me? He goes, yeah, just walk back and forth in front of Van. Let him just feel at ease. And I'm like, should I like lift my hind leg and see if he wants to mount me? Like, this is not the usual dance of seduction in journalism I was used to, but I actually did it. I actually walked out in the hall and did a sort of sad Semitic parade in front of Van Morrison to absolutely no effect. And I walked back into the room to grab my stuff and to tell the manager to go fuck himself. And at that exact moment, Peter Wolf arrived. Peter Wolf of the Jay Giles Band, the one whose his baby was in a centerfold or something to that effect. But he was a friend of mine he's a good friend of Jan Wenner, who ran Rolling Stone. I got to know him. He used to be a DJ. So when Van was like making Astral Weeks in Boston, he was a DJ who Van liked. So they were friends. So Peter goes, what's going on? And I told him, he goes, oh, don't worry, I'll work this out. He walked over to Van and he goes, I could hear him say like, Van, he's cool, which wasn't true, but it was very nice of Peter Wolf to say. He, as a front man, he could lie like that. And so I was told, finally they said, okay, Van will meet you for lunch tomorrow. He goes, we'll talk tomorrow. That's what he said, we'll talk tomorrow. So we went and reserved the best restaurant that he loved in Cambridge, Mass, like in an area he used to live in. We told the wait staff not to look at him. I had 100 questions prepared, and Matt Mahern, who was the famous photographer and a video maker. He's like, he was doing like all the Tracy Chapman album covers and videos, and Peter Gabriel and Tom Waits, super uber cool. He was also being blown off when I was. So he was in the corner of the room where we were supposed to start the interview. We start the interview. I start to say, when you, and I look up and Van Morrison is booking out of this restaurant. Like, and he moves like the Belfast baker that he is. He looks like he just made this bizarre guttural noise and was often running through Harvard Square. Running might be too much, but so I then said, fuck it, he's my hero, but he's also an asshole, and I'm not gonna let him get away with it. I took my notebook, followed him through Harvard Square. He ducked into a diner, sat down and ordered himself a tea, I think, and I finally just said, I'm dealing with a crazy person, so I'm just gonna sit down like nothing has happened. Meanwhile, Matt Mahern is following me, this great photographer, with his cameras, and he standing outside the window near where we were sitting. So I sit down and I say, when you, and he goes, I don't talk about my personal life. And I went, and I looked over my 150 questions, which I don't usually prepare, but I did this time. And I flipped the page to like question 45. I said, on the record, he goes, I don't talk about my past recordings. And I went, all right, well, there's the other 50 questions. And I thought, okay, I'm clearly dealing with a psycho. What would a psychiatrist say in this situation? So I said, Van, can we talk about why you clearly do not want to talk to me? And that subject finally interested him. He goes, I'm sick of journalism. And I went, what do you think it is about journalism that makes you sick? And we were off and running because he could put me down, and that was at least more interesting to him than the dessert that he was also going through at that point. And so we proceeded to have an hour-long conversation, at first about why he hated me, but then we moved on to other topics about other things he hated and other people. And after like an hour, and Matt Mahern, meanwhile, is taking photos from the window, behind the window, and later would go and do a chemical rinse like he did on a Tracy Chapman album cover, and making these amazing photos. And I don't know if my interview was amazing, but it did make some like best of the 90s, I think, Rolling Stone book, so it was okay. And I got away with it. And then my favorite moment was that manager, for reasons that were now very clear to me, died. I think Van killed him, metaphorically, if not literally. But then the next manager called me for something on the next record and said, Van wanted to know if you would write liner notes for his next album. And I was like, yeah, why me? And he said you guys really get along. So I realized that this was Van's version of really getting along. And that is my less than fantabulous moon dance with Van Morrison.
Hey! Wow. It's just so crazy. I mean, I think about like Tupelo Honey and Into the Mystic and all those songs that we've all been, dancing to and had romantic, interludes to. And then now that I know that story, like it kind of clouds that, you know what I mean? Especially the picture of him with those greasy egg rolls and the wings, David. It was so gross. Well, anyway, I'm glad you broke through. I'm glad you're best friends. It's awesome. Tell him to write some more music. We could always use it. You guys, I don't know if you knew that I have some hobbies, right? So some of my hobbies, people know that I play tennis. Yes, I do. I also like to golf, believe it or not. And the other thing I really like to do is I like to paint. And I like to paint because it's like an artistic endeavor and you can create something, right? So you have a blank canvas, you put the paint on, and then it's done, and it's like a process. I also like to bake cookies, same thing, because you start, there's nothing, and you finish and you have something. Because often here in Los Angeles or anywhere you are in the entertainment industry, you often don't ever see the end of a project. So painting is like perfect for me. And I also happen to love Van Gogh. I love Van Gogh. I love sunflowers. And so what I do often is I just paint Van Goghs. I don't care. I know I'm cheating. I know, but I don't care. I like them anyway. And so I paint Van Goghs. Like I painted this. I painted this one here. Beautiful. I know, sunflowers. I painted this one. This is like my favorite, actually. This is what I want to talk about today. This is a painting I made. Now I gotta look it up. It's called Two Silhouettes with Two Figures, or In the Woods with Two Figures, something like that. And I even made, actually my very favorite painting I ever did was I just did the whole wheat field with crows. I just did it. I just did the whole damn painting, same size. Anyway, but the point is that I love this picture so much with two figures. I'll put it here. I love it so much that I painted it like 3, 4, 5 times. I gave them to different people. I would just give those paintings away. A lot of people like that painting. And oh, I know, it's called Undergrowth with Two Figures. And so I would go to the book here and I would just paint. Like I did this with all the other paintings too. I would just, go in my book, look at the book and paint, right? So it's like totally cheating, but I still like it, whatever. But I never understood why this was called Undergrowth with Two Figures. Why is my painting called Undergrowth with Two Figures? I don't get it. And one day I was just browsing through my Van Gogh book. And this is an old book. I was browsing through it and I realized, oh, that's the painting. Do you see the two figures? Oh, that's the painting. See, Christine never turned the page. Me, the big Van Gogh hero, the one I went to Amsterdam to see his painting, but I never knew it was a little bit bigger. So I call my painting, I call it Undergrowth with No Figures. So that's one small story I wanted to share. And then the other story I wanted to share is especially for David Wild, because David Wild has been wondering about that shot I took on the motorcycle. I don't know if you remember that shot, but I did this stunt when I turned 50. And the reason why I did it is because leading up to turning 50, I kept getting these offers in the mail to join AARP. And they told me, that AARP, it's where everybody comes and you're going to love it. And we're going to give you like a free tote bag. We'll give you a free ice pack. We'll give you a backpack. Just join our club. Be in AARP. And all of the brochures had like these gray-haired people on it, playing cards. You know what they look like. And I just thought, like, this is so ridiculous. Well, at the same time, I was going out with this guy who was a Harley rider. Motorcycle rider. Sounds so dumb. He drove a Harley and he lives in Malibu. So that was part of our whole thing, was that we would go out on the bike, right? And I think a lot of people that have motorcycles, you know what I'm talking about. You go out on the bike for like 3 hours, 4 hours. You just go out and cruise on the bike. And it is really fun. It's really exhilarating. And one of those times I was on the back of the bike, I started thinking about, I was going to be turning 50 and I was thinking about different stunts. And I remember seeing Richard Branson, the guy who owns Virgin Airways. I remember seeing Richard Branson in a couple of pictures where he's so rich, he just has naked chicks on his back. There's just naked chicks with him all the time. He's water skiing. He's and he's so rich he can have these, So I just thought that started clicking in my head. And then I also started thinking about that show, or that movie poster for Showgirls. Remember the movie poster for Showgirls, and she was wearing black, but there was like a cutout, super sexy, but you didn't see anything? So those two things combined to make me think, I know what I want to do. I want to go out on this motorcycle, and I want to take some naked pictures. And of course, the guy I was dating at the time, he was on board. He had no problem with that. So I hired a photographer that I've used in the past, and I hired a wardrobe girl. She didn't have much to do, but I did need, more people with me. So we scouted out in Malibu in the canyons, and we decided where we could shoot. And then one day it was like 8 a.m. We get the photographer and the wardrobe girl and me and the motorcycle guy, and we head up into the canyon. And and the makeup girl, she had like a robe on me, and then I'd like have to take the robe off and then drive on this bike and then put the robe on, and it was a whole thing. And over the day, we easily took 800 pictures to get the one photo. So now I have the photo, And again, AARP is sending me stuff. So I said to myself, you know what? I'm going to write a letter to the editor. And I typed it out and I just wrote, let me tell you something. This is 50. This is 50. And I sent the picture. And I didn't think anything of it. Next thing you know, they call me, they email me back, and then they call me, and then I sign a contract, and they're gonna buy the photograph. They're gonna buy it, and they're gonna use it on their online platforms with a signature underneath that says, this is 50, like the new 50. You know, like you don't have to be old and gray and playing cards at 50, although I do play a lot of cards. But the point is they bought it, and I was thrilled. They paid me $800. The photographer was $750, and I bought everybody lunch that day. That was $50. So, and I paid the wardrobe girl. So it basically paid for the whole shoot. I was so excited. And then the night before the photo is supposed to go up, I get an email, just as simple as can be. Dear Christine, I'm sorry to tell you that the editor thinks the photo is too risque and we will not be putting it up. Risque, that's the idea. You know, that was the whole point. And that's why I thought they bought it to begin with. Anyway, it was very disappointing, but I got the money, and then I ended up actually putting it in the Huffington Post, and they put it up on their front page, and they did put it under like something about the new 50 or whatever. And it's another visual from me tonight. Here's the photo. It goes this way. Enjoy. Yeah, it's exciting. I know. So David Wild, that's for you. Funny, right? All right, you guys. Our next storyteller is just a great girl. She's just so sassy and so fun, and she's just in better physical shape than anybody I know. You should do the next motorcycle shot, Jaclyn, I'm telling you. She is an actress and a comedian, and she hosts the show called What's Your Jersey? And I've been on her podcast, and I thought for a long time it was just what's your jersey, like what's your sports jersey, because she does love sports. And I remember wearing my Steeler jersey on her show and stuff. But it's also because she's from New Jersey. That's the key. And she's in New Jersey right now. Like I said, she is also a choreographer and a plyo jam dance fitness instructor. I have to tell you, if you go over to her Instagram, she's got the cutest, sassiest little dances going on. I'm just endlessly impressed. She's appeared on Bravo, True TV, Fox, Sirius XM radio, and she has a reoccurring role as Bethany on the Amazon series Altered Reality. She's also toured the entire world performing for the troops, and she's here with you now. So people, please put your hands together for Jaclyn Marfuggi.
Oh, wait. Can you hear me now? Am I good? Okay, cool. Christine, you're hot AF. Right now I have the quarantine puff, so I'm not in shape at all. Thank you, though. That was kind. So my story, I actually wrote, guys, I'm going to be reading from my mom's iPad because I didn't bring it home with me to Jersey. I wrote it right before the pandemic, and I haven't gotten to do it yet. So we'll see how it goes. It's called Pop Star Adjacent. David, your story made me realize I should never meet my heroes. And yeah, I hope you guys like it. And here goes nothing. Okay. If you guys can't smell my spray tan, I'm from Jersey. We moved from Jersey to California and back to Jersey, and then about 4 more times across Jersey, all by the time I was 8 years old, which was, so healthy for a child already consumed by her weight and looks and celebrities before she hit double digits, whatever. I was on the All-Star Dance Academy competition team where I got my first delicious taste of fat shaming. My best friend's mom commented on my love handles that suddenly appeared over the summer going into my freshman year of high school. Cue the bulimia montage. I'm an Italian Irish. I love lasagna and passive-aggressively wasping everything under the rug. One night, I was sneaking TV in my room when I was supposed to be sleeping. Music videos and late-night Howard Stern on E! Were my childhood porn. All of a sudden, a doe-eyed, tan, blonde teenager appeared on my screen, and a deep, oh, baby, baby, penetrated my eardrums. I grabbed a VHS tape and recorded over a Friends rerun I had seen 1 million times. That was the day my Britney Spears obsession was born. The next day, I went to my dance teacher, Ms. Zhu, and played Baby One More Time. I begged for us to dance to this at our next dance competition. Sorry, Jaclyn, we're busy working on our Spice Up Your Life, Cotton Eye Joe, Let's Get Loud mashup. In high school, I would barely fit in with the cool girls in our group. I mean, guys, we bonded over blowjobs, believe me, I'm Brittany. I mean, is it deep throating tips if you're legit sticking your fingers down your throat because you ate too many cheese fries at lunch? I don't know, asking for myself. What a time to be alive. I'd sneak into New York City on the New Jersey Transit train once a week to take professional dance classes at Broadway Dance Center. I'd sit in front of my TV and transcribe by hand scenes from Friends, and then I'd make the waiters at my uncle's restaurant, Casabona, act out the scenes with me while I hostess. Yes, I'm a bossy monster, but they loved it. They were all NYU acting majors, dying to feel important. Time for college. University of Rhode Island, UR High. I'm now a super orange, spray tanned, bleach blonde with just no eyebrows, still pudgy, and I'm still performing. I dazzle the sororities with my pop star impressions and beer funneling, no gag reflexes. I peak during Greek Week lip sync competition as Britney Spears in a Me Against the Music competition. We won, which leads me to become a ramette on the dance team at school at basketball games. I'd struggle to make it to practice, still drunk from funneling all of the alcohol in Rhode Island the night before, and eventually was called the Fat Ramette by a Turkish drug dealer at a frat house. My first band. Shockingly, confidence still inflated, I left for New York City to audition for Making the Band and Becoming Britney on MTV. Both soul-crushing experiences. I would go back and lie to my theater department and sorority friends saying, I made the final cut, but who knows what will air. I didn't. I was cut in the first round. Fuck the pop star shit. I'm going to be a real actress. I moved to Manhattan Beach, California. That's Los Angeles, right? Same thing. And I moved into a college friend's apartment-owned oceanfront adjacent $300 a month apartment. It was way too much responsibility and so expensive. You know what? I better try Hollywood. I remember pawning everything because I couldn't pay rent. I'll forever regret pawning a gorgeous pair of my mom's pearl diamond earrings she gave me when I moved. I think that money went straight to parking tickets, so whatever. As a bucket list thing, I tried stand-up, and I still do it. And I would do rap parodies, and I would make fun of pop stars, and I even came pretty close to having my own sitcom about being a white girl rapper. My biggest accomplishment was a parody I did called A Million Reasons Why 2016 Sucked, which was retweeted by the Lady Gaga. Guys, I've never seen my mom so proud. The only thing I felt okay doing at this point was stand-up because I could be a little pudgy. I was finally the hot girl in an arena where it didn't fucking matter. I was on a show called The Funny Dance Show, and Lance Bass from NSYNC was a judge. He called my Britney dancing amazing. And Brian, I'm a Slave for You Friedman, called me a dancer, both from that Funny Dance Show. When I played Britney Spears in a jukebox musical for the Hollywood Fringe Festival, Perez Hilton said my Britney performance was authentic. I mean, why am I not famous yet, guys, okay? 10 years have gone by. I am broke as fuck. And I've done every side job in LA. And guess what? I even toured the world performing Stand Up for the Troops, but like, who cares? I know, right? I still haven't booked the pop star tour, but I now have a hot podcast where I get to interview actors, pop stars, but mostly reality stars. I decided, was forced into by my family and boyfriend, intervention style, to go to prison, AKA get a real job. I was hired kicking and screaming to be a contestant wrangler on a pop star NSYNC alum Joey Fatone's game show, Common Knowledge. My first day on set was full of, I'm right on top of that, Rose-esque panic. I spotted the warm-up comic dancing on stage to Destiny's Child doing all the warm choreography, and I've never been more jealous in my entire life. I belong up there, not back here in a fucking headset. Now it's my birthday. Happy 29 plus 6. I'm stuck on set collecting contestants' cell phones as I'm rapidly checking mine for birthday posts. Yeah, I'm a hypocrite. I get a text from my ex-roommate who a few months prior loathed me. We had a friendship breakup. Long story short, we're cool now. I love her, but like I never want her to see me eat shit. And all her text says is, hey, are you okay? So I respond, hi, yeah, what's up? She then sends me a link on Twitter that her fabulous 22-year-old storytelling co-host, Becky, has 10,000 tweets from Taylor Swift fans talking shit and threatening me about my latest podcast episode I did with the hilarious gay comic, Nikki Paris. I had talked about Taylor's new video, You Need to Calm Down, on the pod, asking if he thought it was convenient that she was dropping an LGBTQ anthem during Gay Pride Month. I also dropped scoop that a source who worked on the video told me about Taylor kissing Katy Perry wearing her Met Gala burger french fry outfit days before the video had actually come out. Yeah, I spilled some tea. What felt like 525,600 minutes stuck in a holding cell. My face went numb. Heat rose from my chest. Cue the hives. My eyes so wide with fear, I can't breathe. A panic attack ensues. I mean, guys, someone do something, okay? A new tweet, retweet by the seconds. I mean, I never thought Taylor Swift fans would be how I go. I mean, the account at Can You Just Not said, watch what you say, you clickbaiting twat. Delete the podcast or you're canceled. At TSwiftLover22 tweeted, stop stepping on our gowns. You need to calm down, lying bitch. I'm panicking. I have to go to set. I'm asking my now renewed frenemy friend for advice. Do I delete the podcast? How do I stop the madness? I'm having a meltdown, panic attack style, and I collapse on the ground. I don't know if you can see this, but there was a PA taking pictures of me collapsed on the ground. I'm a people pleaser. This is my worst nightmare. The tweets keep coming in. My spiraling kept getting deeper. Am I canceled? Where the fuck is security? I love pop stars. I love Taylor Swift. We both have body image issues. What the fuck? The video was called You Need to Calm Down, and they should have fucking read the lyrics. It got so bad that Taylor Swift herself made a statement saying this is not what happens in the video. It's exactly what happens in the video. Even our trans PA looked at the tweet thread, looked at me, and went, oh, girl, you fucked. It was bad. I deleted the podcast, issued a statement to the Swifties apologizing, and just like that, the nightmare was over. Podcasts and tweets are gone. And I said, I'm on your team, and I just spoke the truth of what I was told, and I got them to apologize to me. Guys, I'm almost done. I promise. All of this made me realize one thing. I forgot who I fucking was. After sitting on the sidelines, I became a shell of who I am. Jaclyn Marfuggi would never delete a podcast. Why are you looking for fallback jobs? You need to fall forward towards what you've been building for the past 10 years. Stop worrying about your biological clock, getting married, getting fat, having kids, becoming successful. Chill the fuck out and release those white knuckles. So I just flew in from auditioning for Britney Spears' Broadway musical called One More Time. The last in-person New York City Broadway audition I had was over a decade ago for a chorus line, and I walked out because I was so intimidated by all the skinny bodies and incredible dancers. I lost sleep over this, and finally, hours before the flight, my manager tells me she pitched me a lot for this. Go, or else you'll always wonder. So I booked that $800 red-eye last minute to New York and showed the fuck up. I was terrified, and I felt happy tears well up in my eyes as the Britney song I Want to Go blasted for the first time through the dance studio. All of the amazing choreographers taught the combo. Okay, I didn't leave, I didn't suck. Basically, the point of this story, because I feel like I've been talking forever, I finally realized the entire time I was at that audition, I didn't belong there. I was wanting to make jokes to everyone. When they called my name, I went, here, in a Britney Spears voice, which fell on deaf ears. No one laughed. And I was like, what am I doing? I was cut in the first round. I waited around way too long. But I realized I'm enough, and dancing and acting is just icing on the cake. And I don't know why I'm so enamored by pop stars, but thank God for it, for them, or else I'd still be auditioning for off Broadway shows, living in my parents' house in New Jersey, which kind of feels like I am doing that right now. but yeah, I'll always be grateful. And to be honest, reading the story now, it all seems so trite and doesn't matter at all. And being canceled is something I feel like we're all doing every day, and deleting podcasts. So yeah, that's it.
Jaclyn, that's a great story. That's intense. I've known a few people that have gotten harassed on Twitter, and they've gotten that attention that you were just talking about, and that it's so scary, because these people you don't even know are now, commenting and saying things personally, and that's a really scary thing. So congratulations, like, for getting through it. Like, I don't think now you know the worst. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I want you to share real quick, if you can, Jaclyn. I know you're in New Jersey now, but you just flew to New Jersey the other day, and just tell everybody how you did it.
Yeah, I flew and I ordered. I can send all of you the links for all the Amazon products I got. I had a hazmat suit on and goggles and a mask and a shield and gloves, and I was the only one that looked like I was flying to the moon. And it was weird. I do have to say, if you're going to fly, know that it's going to take forever. There's so many lines. Everyone is angry and mad, and you just have to chill. You also can't really stop and get a glass of wine somewhere to like chill out. Like, everything's closed, and it's a lot. And you just have to breathe and just kind of do what they say, because if you don't, I witnessed fights on our plane. They deboarded us. So we had to get off, and we were delayed for 5 hours, which was a blessing in disguise, because then half the people left our flight. But yeah, I would just make yourself feel safe. And I was stocked up on hand sanitizer and wipes and all the things. So
interesting. No, I think it's really interesting. And you should put in the chat there. Go ahead and put the hazmat suit. No, really, because I want to see it too. I need to go back to Pittsburgh and see my mom. By the way, she was the one who cut in when David Wild was talking. I almost yelled, "That was my mom. Hi, Mom." Anyway, but I do want to see her. I haven't seen her in over a year. My mom's 84. I need to see her. I might need to borrow your hazmat suit. All right, you guys. Next storyteller coming up. Now, I've known this guy for over 20 years. He's just an amazing person. He got his start at the Comedy Store in La Jolla. He's a stand-up comedian, and he plays clubs all over LA, and he's played many places in the United States as well. Now, here's what I want to tell you about this guy. We played pickleball together. You know what pickleball is? This is the racket. This is the ball. It's just like tennis, but much shorter. So if you take a regular sized tennis court, it's actually divided into 4. So then you have 4 people playing on each court. So there's literally 16 people playing 4 different games, right? So anyway, this and this, and I love this guy so much, and I can't wait to play pickleball with him again. You guys, wherever you are, put your hands together for Mark Fernandez.
I got unmuted. Hi, everybody. Let me do this. There we go. Okay. Hi, it's nice to be here. So the story is about me in my early formative adult years. I am 58 years old. I lost my virginity late in life. This is not a story about that, but it is from that time. So I lost my virginity when I was 21. That was 1983. So this is a story about my first night in a bar, in a club, in 1983. So 1983, Duran Duran, Spandau Ballet, a band called Felony, who only had one hit called The Fanatic, The Flirts. That was the music at the time. And in those times, we moosed and gelled before we went out. That was a big deal. That was a huge thing for me. So I'm gonna try and recreate that for you. In 1983, in San Diego, where I'm from, the hot bar in 1983 in San Diego was the El Torito in La Jolla. That was like the hot place to go, right? So I turned 21, and my buddy Mel was the only one of my friends who had turned 21 already. So we are getting ready to go out, and we're doing this, right? We're moosing and gelling. We're getting ready to go. I don't know how good this is good, but that's what we use, right? So I'm moosing and gelling, and I'm getting my fancy clothes, parachute pants. Does anyone remember parachute pants? I had parachute pants. Parachute pants, for those of you who don't know, are pants that were made from a ripstop fabric that had zippers, way too many zippers that were needed. I once lost my car keys in my parachute pants for like 45 minutes because there were too many zippers. I'm like, which one? Zip, where were they? So we moose, we gel, we get out, and we put this on. This, for those of you who don't know this name, this is a vintage Willie Wear jacket from 1983. Willie Smith was a designer, famous designer, and you're not here. You guys can't. Maybe you can see shoulder pads in these things. So at that time, I actually had the. I have to move the shoulder pad. Hold on. There we go. So this is what we're wearing. Parachute pants, white shirt, skinny tie with the keyboard on it. That was kind of like standard fare to be wearing. See, my hair's too long and COVID-y, Corona-y. It's not staying. I guess the products we had back then were way better. I wish it would stay. Anyway, so we're getting ready to go to the El Torito in La Jolla. Mel and I drive up, and we valet park our car because we're ballers, and we get into the El Torito in La Jolla. So it's El Torito. It's an El Torito. So it's not fancy. It's a restaurant, but it's got a little tiny postage stamp dance floor with a DJ in the corner, and it's dark in there. And so I go up to the bartender to order my very first legal cocktail. And the bartender looks at me and he says, "What can I get for you?" And I'm on the spot. I didn't know. I didn't do my research as far as cocktails were concerned. I didn't know what to say. I didn't know what was cool. And so I blurted the first thing that came out of my mouth, which I had just recently seen an Elvis in Blue Hawaii. So Mai Tai comes to my mind. So I order a Mai Tai, which I didn't know at the time. And Mai Tai is not the most masculine of cocktails, and the bartender hears me say Mai Tai, and he looks at me, and he didn't say it, but I could tell in his eyes he's thinking, what a gigantic pussy this guy is. Good luck in your journey to getting laid, buddy. Anyway, I order the Mai Tai and the El Torito. It comes in the fish bowl, right? The big fish bowl of swirly, beautiful, orange, red liquid with the umbrella. It's just this big fish bowl. And so I take that and I head out to the dance floor to check out the scene, what's going on. So yeah, so like Duran Duran's playing and Spandau Ballet, and it's disco-y and sexy and whatever. My buddy Mel had already gone inside towards the dance floor area, so he's checking the area out too. And I get up to the corner of the dance floor, and I look across the dance floor, and I see a cute girl. She's sporting the kind of like a Madonna-ish vibe-ish. You know what I mean? This is pre-Madonna, I think. So she's got tights on, but she's got a skirt over the tights. She's got big hair too, and she looks at me. And she does this. She does a little geisha girl giggle. She and we make eye contact, and I see her do the little giggle thing, and I'm like, whoa, here we go. This is awesome. I make sure I'm properly coiffed. All right, here we go. And I look across the dance floor at her again, and I notice that she nudges her friend who's standing next to her, and her friend looks over across the dance floor at me, and she does the little geisha girl giggle too. And I'm thinking, holy shit, I'm gonna get two I'm going to get 2 tonight. This is going to be a big night for Fern. Keeping in mind, you guys, I was a virgin at this time. So I'm thinking I'm going to bust out big time. These older women have not seen the likes of me. This is going to be a big night for Fern. This is when the Fernandez is born, right? So my buddy Mel's like, what's going on? And I point to the 2 that are across the way, and Mel's like, oh, all right, nice, good job, dude. And they're both giggling, and I start to make my move across to the dance floor, but I stop because I look down and realize that my tie was in my drink. That's what they're laughing at. My tie was in my Mai Tai. That's what was happening right there. And so there's no graceful way out of that situation. You know, you go to a table, pull the tie out, wring it out, and I would lose my virginity months later, but it didn't happen that night. That's another story for another time. But that's Fern's first night in a bar, 1983.
That is the best story, Mark. I never heard that before. I forgot to get you one of those skinny piano ties.
I had a skinny tie in my closet, but I couldn't find it. It's somewhere, but it's there.
That is so funny. I love the whole story. I love your shoulder padded jacket.
Yeah, this is from 1983. This is actually from 1983.
You have so much hair. You are so handsome, by the way. I can say that because you're my friend of 22 years. But holy cow, you don't look 58. I'll tell you that.
It's the Filipino thing.
It's true.